Hello and welcome back to another video. I'm Zelp, and today we are going to talk about what is the best or most efficient way that I believe to go through the entire Railjack star chart and why. This is going to be really useful for beginners because it's basically what I would do to advance really quickly or more efficiently to where I am right now if I were to start this game all over again, or rather just start Railjack all over again. Not gonna start a game all over again. Among the topic, I'll also be talking about which avionics that I think is worth getting, and you should probably want to get them for endgame. This includes bellow abilities and also some of the mods that you get for your Railjack. One of the reasons for making this video is because, again, I'm still getting asked a lot, like, where do you find particle ram, where do you find a void cloak, where do you find void hole, and all these things, even things like halt weave. And you guys might be noticing that I'm replying the comments a lot later. Like, I still go through all the comments that I was notified and I still reply to all of them. It's just that it comes by like after entire day or something, because work has started, so I am busy with my part-time jobs and I'm still trying to make this work, somehow uploading daily content for you guys. So in between, you're gonna see some delays. I might respond late, or sometimes I just have to do an extra video for the next day because I know that I won't be free the next day. But hopefully within all this chaos, you guys are still sitting back and enjoying the videos. Okay, let's start from Earth Proxima. The moment you start, you're gonna have like two nodes, which is Free Flight and Posit Cluster, if I'm not mistaken. And then after you finish Posit Cluster, one will be unlocked, sometime two, and you kind of work your way through until you have all of them appearing. Now, being so new to Railjack, it's okay to experiment, but you want to keep yourself moving progressively. Like, you don't want to keep doing Posit Cluster because it's the easiest. Try to keep expanding and open every single node, because as soon as you open all of them on Earth, then the one on Saturn will appear, and then you can advance through Saturn. You want to make your way as fast as you can to Veil. The reason why is because Veil have all the good parts. So the sooner you get over here, the sooner you get better parts to use to upgrade your Railjack. And if you were to use, let's say, a good part that you get from Earth, for example, and that's going to be like maybe a MK1, and that is going to be a waste of resources, in my opinion, simply because of how fast you can actually reach Veil. Now, there are some limitations, like you can't go into Saturn until you have intrinsic level 3. Now, what this means is that you need to have, let's see if I can show you over here. So the intrinsic requirement is based on the highest intrinsic that you have. So it's like, as long as you have any one of these intrinsic at level 3, you can go into Saturn. And likewise for Veil, you need to have one at least at level 7. It's not collectively. In the past, there were people that thought that it was collectively, but it's not that way. Otherwise, like right now, I don't have a total of 29. Now, I've already made a video about which intrinsic that I think that you should get, especially earlier on when you start this game. So maybe you can try and find that video. I don't think there's much to talk about or much that would change. There are some flaws in it, but it's not really that important. Now, another reason why you want to get to Veil Proxima as soon as you can is because over here you can actually join a mission where you have a chance of getting parts for your Shidu. So this is the Shidu, and what you're looking for is a knot that is blinking, and over there you can find a sentient ship that is called the Symbolis. It appears every 2 hours and 45 minutes, it seems, and it occupies one random knot in Veil Proxima for 30 minutes. Also, by reaching here sooner, you can also unlock or start to do your Era quest. One of the most important nodes, in my opinion, is going to be Giant Point. This is where there is no third platform, the third objective. So you just go in and you start fighting the fighters and also cruise ships, and that's pretty much it. So you can actually run this pretty fast if you know what you're doing. Going through the star chart really quickly, you can also get into certain assassination missions more often, or unlock certain nodes that always have a assassination mission. So by doing so, you can actually look for this weapon called the Pennon, and it's dropped by these commanders, which you have to kill. One of the nodes that I find almost always has a commander in is the Cassius Res. Okay, now let's talk about avionics, the abilities, what I would recommend getting as soon as you can. Now, in order to come to this page, all you have to do is go to wiki, type on Railjack, you'll see this part where there's a tab, click on avionics, and from here you can learn a lot about the stuff. So these are some of the avionics, or I guess Railjack mods. Important stuff is Buckhead. This one gives your Railjack a bunch of health. And you want to try and get the Zekti one if possible. That gives you 506% extra health. Now the good thing about wiki is that it also tells you what drops what. Now how do you know that the enemy is from Earth, if it's from Saturn, or if it's from Vale? You look at the name. If you see anything with a Cosma on it, it's on Earth. If you see anything with an Exo on it, then that's going to be on Vale. If you see something with a Gyria, then you know that is from Saturn. So there are these three that you want to look out for, and that's how you know where to get them. Okay, now let's get back into the avionics and what I think is most important. For your Railjack upgrades, I'll say Buckhead is very important because of the overall health. And when you have a lot of health, something that goes really well with health is your armor. So the next thing that I'll recommend is Hull Weave. Now for Hull Weave, I feel like the Vadar house is actually not too bad. You don't really have to go for the Zekti simply because of the drain over the benefits. Like this one can give you up to 216, but it only uses like 8 drain, while this one, if you get the Zekti version, is going to go up like an extra less than 40%, but you have to spend like 5 extra drain. So in that sense, I feel like the Vadar is actually good enough for the Railjack armor. For Buckhead, in my opinion, I feel like the Zekti version is still very much worth getting, simply because if you look at the difference, it's just much more rewarding over the drain. So yes, you do use a lot more drain, 7 in fact, but you get almost like double the one that you get for Vadar. Now the next one that I deem kind of important is Forward Artillery, especially if you use the cannon a lot. So I do use the cannon a lot. I don't really like going out the ship and, you know, going into the cruise ship and sabotage it. I feel like it's just a lot easier if I can just shoot it from where I stand. And also this is really fast if you are soloing. If you have friends around to do the cruise ship, by all means you don't really need this mod. But otherwise, if you get it, you can actually still one-shot a lot of cruise ships even in higher levels. Currently, I believe there's some kind of bug going on where Archwing avionics also applies to the Railjack. So I kinda would recommend getting Wing Steel Zekti for the extra armor. You can also see the difference between a Vadar and a Zekti, which is, what the hell is this? Now for abilities, the first one that I would recommend is probably Void Cloak, because it's really useful if, let's say, if you are soloing or all of your teammates suddenly left or something, and you just need some time to do the repairs, to clear the ship from invaders, or even to do a cruise ship or something. You can just use the Void Cloak and go invisible so that your Railjack does not get hurt, and you can go and do whatever it is that needs to be done. The next ability that I would recommend is Particle Ram. I feel like this is really good. I'm not going to talk too much about it because I already made like an entire video about Particle Ram. But basically with this, you can actually avoid a lot of RAM slats just by pointing at them at low levels. You can also even AFK your Railjack, and eventually all the fighters will die because somehow rather when they come attacking you, they'll always hit the particle ram. And finally, the last ability that I recommend is Void Hole, which is, again, I'm not going to talk too much about it, but basically it pulls enemies together to, like, it kind of works like a black hole. It also stuns them in a way because of the co-proc, and co-proc kind of works a little bit differently in Railjack. They don't just like move slower, but their thrusters actually just shut off and their guns don't work as well. And another thing that I really like Void Hole for is that it pulls enemies to get in one spot, which means that the loots do not fly all over the place. Now, Secret Wally is pretty good at lower levels. You can actually clear a mission really quickly, but then the loot will be all over the place. There are some other really good abilities, like for example this one, Munitions Vortex, that you might be able to see how people use it. But again, the loots will be all over the place and the enemy needs to somehow be in range. Unlike Void Hold, where it's cast and it stays out for a certain amount of duration, pulling enemies together, in my opinion, I feel like the Void Hold is just more superior than something like Munition Vortex. Okay, now very quickly, let's just take a look at where they all drop. If you look at Buckhead, you want the Zac D1, you kind of need to go to Earth and farm. I'm not too sure. Over here we have a XO, which is Veil, but from what Wiki, at least what Wiki is telling us, is that it seems like if you farm it in Veil, you're only going to get the 11 variation. So you want the Zac D1, you kind of have to go to Earth. And I think this is kind of good because it gives you an incentive or a reason to be farming on Earth. Otherwise, everyone would just keep farming Veil. But farming on Veil is not too bad, and I'm going to show you why in just a minute. Over here you can see that for artillery, if you want the Zac D version, this one doesn't actually say, so I don't really know. But you can see that you can actually, there are two over here, one from the Cutter at Veil, another one from the Tectis Elite from Veil as well. When it comes to Hull Weave, there is also some that drops in Veil as well. I'm not too sure if it's specifically the Zac D one, like I said just now, so hopefully it is. And then for Void Cloak, now this one doesn't really matter because they don't have the house variation thing. So this one you're definitely going to get it if you farm enough of Veil. So it's going to be from the Elite, XO, Cutter. When it comes to Particle Ram, it also drops at Veil. The only problem is that this comes from an Elite, which might appear a little bit less frequently. So you might want to consider going for Earth if you really want to. However, I would recommend going Veil because of all the other benefits that you get from Veil. Get higher experience, which translate to more intrinsics, and also the parts that you want to get better roll of. And over here, Void Hold. Void Hold also only drops from an enemy outrider at Veil. So another really good reason why you kind of want to stay in Veil. Now you might be wondering, why am I not mentioning some of the good avionics as well? Like for example, why not damage for turrets, which is selling pretty high. For example, Hyperstrike. Hyperstrike is really good. That is if you use your turrets a lot. But in my opinion, the current meta in taking away fighters is really just Void Hold and then finish them all off with a Ordnance. So you don't really need any turret damage at all. That is why Hyperstrike or even the Predator did not make the list. Okay, now with this video, I really hope that people don't message me asking me where to get what anymore, because I don't remember them. Once I get them, it's just like lost in my brain. So if you ask me, I legit have to come all the way to Wiki to find out in order to reply you, and would much prefer to spend my time replying something else other than things that you can already inquire yourself. So as a quick summary, if you just got your Railjack and starting off in the star chart for the Railjack, go and open up all these nodes first. Open up as fast as you can, all the way to Saturn, open up Saturn, and then get into Veil. Remember, you do need to have at least one of your intrinsics at level 7, and then once you enter here, actually technically if you have a host, a friend that's hosting a mission, you don't really need that intrinsic level 7. You can actually join him if he's bringing you in. But it's just a lot easier for you to find matches without your friend if you can get an intrinsic level 7. So one of the nodes that I highly recommend is Giant Point. Come over here, start grinding. If your Railjack is weak, you know, just join other people's game and keep going through this until you get good parts for your Railjack. Upgrade your Railjack. Try to get your Railjack as beefy as possible with the upgrade avionics that we talked about. Things just gets a lot easier once you have those. And what I would do is I'll stay in Giant Point and try to farm up Particle Ram, Void Hold, and also even Void Cloak. Let me know down in the comments if there's anything else that you would add, and I guess that is pretty much it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Also, maybe let me know what kind of stuff that you guys are interested in seeing me do for future videos. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye bye.